On this episode, we prepare you for exploring Bangkok with our Bangkok Survival Kit.
So if you plan to head out into Bangkok's mean streets for a long day of adventure, you'll dig this episode of the Bangkok Podcast.
Sawadee krap, and welcome to the Bangkok Podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who just transferred Die Hard onto a thumb drive because I'll be traveling over the holidays and there ain't nothing going to stop me from watching the best Christmas movie ever on Christmas Eve, as I have done every year since it came out on VHS in 1989.
For sure. I've done it with you. It is a ritual.
My son wants to watch it with me now, and I'm like,
oh, cool.
I said, I don't know, buddy. It's pretty violent.
Oh, come on. He plays GTA.
He's like, well, yeah, but it's video game violence and real life violence are quite different. And I was like, maybe I'll cover your eyes during the violent parts. And he's like, no, I can handle it. Trust me. So we'll see what goes on.
I'm mature enough, Dad. Here's 3 citations from this psychology study. And then you're like, wow, I guess you are ready for this.
Yeah, damn.
And I'm Ed Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a 1-year teaching contract 23 years ago. Finally got my driver's license, but I fell in love with explaining to my Thai students that Prince was an American pop star and not a real prince by Thai standards. So I never left.
That's that generational divide showing its rearing its ugly head. Hey?
I'm actually kind of shocked. I don't know. Prince is one of those pop culture icons that has kind of fallen through the cracks in Thailand. I have a bunch of students, my American music class. I'm teaching about a lot of people, but most of them are people I wouldn't necessarily expect them to know, like people from the 40s or 50s. But when I get into the 80s and 90s, I kind of assume that they will have heard of everyone, but They haven't. And I mean, it's unfathomable if you were from the West and you didn't know who Prince was. Like, it's just, exactly, he's so big and so iconic, but a lot of Thai students don't. It's kind of unfortunate.
My son knows who he is. I forced him to watch Prince's halftime show when he did the Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh, you did? Oh, the one in the rain that was really good. Yeah,
widely considered the best halftime show of all time.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
And I forced my son to watch pop culture moments, like Clockwork Orange style, with toothpicks in his eyes. Now we're going to go explain you who Freddie Mercury is and why he was important.
So funny. Anyway, we want to give a big thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get every episode a day early, behind the scenes photos of our interviews, a heads up to send questions to upcoming guests, and access to our Discord server to chat with me, Greg, and other listeners around the world. But best of all, patrons also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and Bangkok topics. On this week's bonus show, we chatted about Greg's visit to the Bangkok Illustration Fair, my experiences taking the Thai written and practical driver's test, which I passed, by the way, barely, but I passed, and a quick story about a drug bust that saw the cops seize an absolutely insane amount of meth pills from a single vehicle. To learn how to become a patron and get all this good stuff, plus full access to over 700 bonus and regular back episodes, click the support button at the top of our website.
That's a lot of bonus and regular back episodes.
It is.
You've been busy.
A heck of a lot.
Yeah. All right, a quick note before we start, everyone. Now, seeing this as episode 70, and considering that each season of the Bangkok Podcast has around 72 odd episodes, and recognizing the fact that both Ed and I are going to be taking a few weeks off over the holidays, this will be the last episode of 2023 and the last episode of season 6. What do you think about that?
I think it's amazing, Greg. What do you think?
I also think it's amazing because
no, it's great.
It's crazy that we're doing season 7.
Yeah, it's crazy. It'll be good to get a couple weeks off. And I can't believe I've been doing this for, I think it's 5, I'm coming up on 5 years now, which is scary. Yeah. So we just, season 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Coming up on 5 years, which is frightening.
Insane. Yeah. So this is the last episode of season 6, but never fear. We will be back with episode 1 of season 7 on January 10th, 2024, January 9th, if you're a patron, obviously, because you get shows a bit early. And also, many thanks to listener Errol for bringing us a bottle of wine all the way from Australia. Great to meet you, buddy. And guess what I'm sipping right now? Got some right here.
I can see it.
It's good stuff. Alrighty. On this episode, we are going to be throwing down some of our sage old man advice on the best ways to not only survive in Bangkok, but thrive while you're here. Now, we're not talking about making money, but recognizing that Bangkok can be a challenging city to navigate, and recognizing that a lot of people will be heading here for the next few months, we thought it might be fun to throw together a list of some of the things that really help cut through the knots of Bangkok to make your time exploring the city much more enjoyable. Now, if you're rich and will be taking helicopters and grab SUVs everywhere, this show ain't for you. But if you're like us and you like to get out to see Bangkok at street level, eat random street food, explore weird soys, and chat with the locals that give this city its mojo, this show is definitely for you. Now, Ed, what do you think of this show? This is sort of designed for people who want to head out and really like take a big bite of Bangkok.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. The idea is you're going to get out of your hotel, or you could possibly be an expat who just has a bunch of stuff you got to check off the list, and you're going to get out early in the morning, 8:30, 9 a.m., and you might be out in Bangkok for a whole day. So the idea here is this is an adventure. This is not a thing where you're going to go out for 2 hours and head back to your hotel room. This is planning ahead. Maybe you've got 5 or 6 things you want to do in the daytime. Maybe you're going to hit some temples. Maybe you're going to go to Talat Noi and take some pictures. Maybe you're going to take a boat ride. Who knows? Maybe you're going to check out one of the new malls. But this is one of these long Bangkok days. What do you need to bring with you? I think this is
right.
a good thing, because I got to tell you, I still have days where I get stuck and I'd have to do like a Homer, like, dope. I forgot X, I forgot this, and so this is a list of those things that you always wish you had after you find out that you don't have them.
Right. Some of them seem pretty obvious when we say them, but in hindsight, when you're out, you're like, of course I should have brought that.
That's right.
And some of them might not be so obvious. But you made a good point too, Ed. Like, this is not for tourists only. Like, a lot of times, you and I have lived here for 20 plus years.
And then you realize that I've never been here. I've never been there.
Right. Right.
And what you said about things being obvious, you got to be careful with that, because there might be 7 or 8 obvious things, which means you're likely to forget like 2 or 3 of them if you don't write these down. So honestly, like, listeners, if you're going to do this, is the kind of thing to if you use notes or Google Keep or something like that, this is the kind of checklist that'll help you, especially as you get older and you get more forgetful.
And we were talking too. This is the stuff we do before we go out on a bike rides. Like, we stop the night before and we think like,
no, I've got a list. I've got a keep list.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go here. Okay, I need to get that. And then I'm going to go here, and then I need to get that. Like, you walk yourself through the day, and it's surprising what you can come up with that you might not have thought of. So these are not in any particular order. Ed and I just put these in a sheet, and we're going to go through them one by one and just talk a little bit about them. Now, for me personally, this is something that I really, really encourage everyone to have, because it makes a huge difference in the right situation, and that is noise-canceling headphones, with an emphasis on noise canceling.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing, because I've never owned them, and I've always wanted to. And I think from what I can tell, I watch a bunch of reviews of these things, I think they cut both ways. They're not for everyone. There is something to be said for being in the middle of the ambiance of the whole city. But
Totally.
But Bangkok is a loud city, and it can get really annoying. And so I think noise canceling headphones is a good call, because it at least gives you the option of what you want to hear or not hear.
Right. Now, obviously, if you're walking through Lumpini Park or some of the back soys of Ari or Talat Noi, take your headphones out. Like you said, there's that neighborhood ambience that's really valuable too. But if you're wandering down Silom or Sukhumvit or Ramaphore or something like that, man, these make all the difference. And I specifically say noise canceling because I only got my first pair of noise canceling headphones like 8 months ago. And it's incredible, man. Incredible, the difference between a regular pair of headphones and noise canceling ones. Like, I'm standing on the side of Silom at rush hour, and all I hear is like,
oh wow, that's
the
cool.
cars going by.
Yeah, I've got to. It's on my list. It's on my list to check out. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
So
Really makes a difference.
yeah, from high tech to low tech, another really useful thing is just a handkerchief or some type of towel or something like that. Again, this is if you're going to be out for a long time, especially if you're walking or doing a kind of walking tour. You got to be prepared to sweat and deal with sweat. So you could get by maybe with some tissue, but a handkerchief or like small towel, they're pretty useful when it comes to sweat.
Have you ever read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Back in the day, a long time ago, sure.
Yeah, well, of course, the main rule in that is always carry a towel with you because you can use it in so many different various ways, and that's exactly the same. And this, I should say also, this applies less to you bastards with full heads of hair, but if you're follically challenged like I am, you don't have anything to keep that sweat from dripping over your face. Like I say, it's like pouring water on a bowling ball. So I always got a handkerchief in my back pocket if you're out exploring. Priceless, man.
That's right.
Not only that, they can also replace if you sneeze or something like that, or a mask,
sure.
touch something, you can wipe your hand. God forbid if you find yourself in a bathroom with no toilet paper, which we'll get to in a little bit. But there's a multiple different ways this can come into good use in emergencies.
I feel like the handkerchief is almost, there's something kind of retro about it. I feel like it's something like my dad would carry, but I don't think about it as something. But the bottom line is it's pretty damn useful.
It's like Uncle Jesse used to bring it out of his pocket on the Dukes of Hazzard and be like, and then put it back in his pocket, like that old. And it's got the same design too. The ones I have, the same design that's been
so funny,
printed on mass machines for the past 80 years.
All right, what's the next thing? What's the next thing, Greg?
Well, the next one is something that I never really thought about, honestly, until the past 5 years or so when I started getting a little bit old. And that is good shoes. And my mom has come here a bunch of times, and I understand that when you're walking with quote unquote old people, they need to be careful of tripping and things like that. But I always put old people like 20, 25 years in front of me. But it's only been in the recent years that I've been like, man, Bangkok sidewalks can really mess you up if you're not ready.
Oh yeah. I mean,
when you're young and spry and bounce back, less of an issue. But if you're getting older.
No, I mean, comfortable, good shoes, they make a big difference. Obviously, if you're walking for a long time, but it's also, as you said, this city is an ankle breaker. It's an ankle sprain like obstacle course, and so just having good, comfortable shoes that you can move around, like this is not. I can't imagine what it's like for Thai women or anyone to walk around in heels in Bangkok. What a nightmare! Oh
my God. The women that sit side saddle on motorcycles and get off and run down the sidewalk in high heels, we bow down, right?
Yeah. I don't know how they do it. Good pair of comfortable shoes, absolute necessity.
That would be a really good slogan for Bangkok, like Bangkok, breaking hearts and ankles.
No, it is a ankle sprainer city for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, what's the next one on the list?
Well, this is something easy to forget. Small change for things like bathrooms and ferries. So the ferry that I take across the river, it's annoying. It's 4.5 baht.
Really? Mine's 5. I'm getting ripped off.
It's 4.5 baht. Now, of course, you don't need to actually have 4.5. You can have 5. But it is kind of annoying if you have no change at all and you have to give them, a 20 baht bill and get all that change. So it's a good thing to remember that boats, ferries, obviously if you're going to venture on a bus, small change is useful. And then it's so annoying when you want to go to the bathroom and it's 10 baht and you don't have a 10 baht coin.
Right. And also sometimes in bathrooms, they'll have like a little machine where you can buy tissue paper, toilet paper, because they don't have, some bathrooms don't have it in the stalls.
Yep.
And they take coins as well. And there's not like there's someone standing next to it ready to give out change.
Yep.
So, having 50 or 60 baht in change in your pocket, you never know when you're going to need it. And
for sure,
it comes in handy.
All right. What else?
All right. Now, this one, as we've talked about on the show before, this is something that both you and I swear by.
Yep.
But that's a copy of your passport.
Dude, you basically, if you come to Thailand regularly, you should have like a tattoo of your passport on your forearm.
That's a good idea.
Because you just have it and just go, here it is. Because so you basically need your passport to do almost anything.
I thought about tattooing the passport on the top of my head. So if someone wants it, I could respectfly bow to them and they could
bow to them and there's your passport.
Probably make more sense in Japan, but it'll work here too.
That would be a great video to make where we get like kind of fake tattoo of your passport and then just video how Thai people respond. to you bending over.
Or just a QR code on the top of my head that people beep and get all my information.
I love it. That is a great idea. That is a great idea.
But yeah, when you go out, when you're oot and boot in Bangkok, no one asks for your driver's license.
Yeah, it's
or
not a thing.
your
not
whatever. Yeah, they just say passport.
Yeah.
So whether you have the real one, which is a bit of a security risk, I have a little miniature one that I photocopied and shrunk down and laminated to keep in my wallet.
Yep.
Just worth its weight in gold, which is not much, but still always comes in handy.
For sure.
What's next?
Well, the other thing that's weird is the weird thing about Bangkok is, number one, you have to prepare for the heat and sweat. That's a high priority. But the odd thing is, there's several types of places in Bangkok that blast air conditioning famously or notoriously. One is movie theaters. So if you happen to be like, hey, I'm gonna go to Icon CM, or I'm gonna go to a new mall, or I'm going to check out IMAX, you got to be prepared for freezing temperatures. And the other thing is, it's not just movie theaters. It's also coffee shops, especially Starbucks. I feel like Starbucks is the biggest offender. It's cold. And so the weird thing is, in Bangkok, you got to be prepared for high temperatures and then low temperatures if you think you might be doing that, so having some type of something to keep you warm, to put over your legs, put over your shoulders, it's a good idea if you think you might be going to one of those places.
It's a good money-making idea. We should have a Bangkok podcast branded sarong and stand outside of Starbucks selling them.
Dude, I was in a 24-hour Starbucks this week, and it was filled with students. It's all like MacBooks and students, and they all had blankets and wraps. It's because they must go to Starbucks regularly, and I was looking at them, and you could have been in Ohio in the winter.
Right.
Like they're
just
all
some snow pants and stuff.
They're all wrapped up, in Starbucks.
Yeah, probably not going to affect you if you're going to be in there for 10 minutes, but if you're spending any amount of time in there, for sure.
For sure.
I remember back in the day, Tony, the host in season 1, he used to go to, when he was out and about filming his videos in Bangkok, he used to go to movie theaters and have a nap in the middle of the day. It was like 100 baht and go in and just kind of ignore the movie and nap.
Well, it's very cool. So yeah, if you want to break from the heat, going into a movie theater is a good idea.
That's right.
All right, what's next?
Yeah. Well, this is something that I never thought about until my sister visited me a bunch of years ago, and she's got a very severe sunflower seed allergy.
Oh, wow.
So she has a couple of EpiPens with her all the time. But what she did, and I thought this was really smart, was she got my wife to write out on a piece of paper, I am severely allergic to sunflower seeds. I will die if I eat them in Thai.
Right.
And she took a photo of it and then made that photo the wallpaper on her phone.
Ooh, excellent.
Right.
Excellent.
So whenever she went to a street vendor, she just held up her phone and the guy read it and he's like, "Oh, okay, no problem." Or he said, "Ooh, well, all of our stuff has sunflower seeds in it."
Yeah, sure. No, I love this idea. When I saw your list before the show started, I'm like, that's genius. And it's not even just food allergies is probably number one because obviously it's a health risk. But I also would throw in things like any type of dietary restriction, whether you're vegetarian, vegan, whether you keep kosher, you eat halal food.
Right.
It's a good idea to have a Thai translation of this thing ready to go. Now, if you've been here longer, like Greg and I, you should probably learn how to say it in Thai. But at the very least, having it in Thai script, it just cuts to the chase and saves you some time. And it also, there's a less of a chance of miscommunication.
Right. There's also a really, really good website called equaleats.com, and that has just this. It's got little plastic cards that you can order. You can also download them and print them yourself at home for a small fee. And it's got I'm just looking at the drop-down menu now. It's got 50 languages here that they're in. And yeah, it covers everything from food allergies to religious restrictions to all kinds of preferences and stuff like that. So
it's great.
It's a great idea. And I mean, eating a little bit of chicken if you're a pescatarian is probably less of a big deal than eating a sunflower seed if you're my sister, but still, you want what you want.
Heck yeah. No, I think this is a great idea.
Yeah, it's really good. Save you a lot of hassle. All right, what's the next item?
Well, this is a little bit different from having a rag or a handkerchief. I think it's a good idea just to have tissue with you or some type of wipes. And what I'm talking about, I'm not just talking about being able to blow your nose. The problem is that depending on where you go in Bangkok, you might go into a bathroom and it could be a Western style bathroom with a Western toilet, and you're like, yes. And then you go in there, zero toilet paper. Now, some of those places might have a machine where you could buy some toilet paper, but not always. So I was, it's funny, I just got back from the Department of Transportation where I got my driver's license. Did I mention that already, Greg? Did I mention that?
I don't think you did.
But yeah, the bathrooms there, Western style toilet, flush toilet, zero toilet paper. Like just nothing outside, inside, no toilet paper. And so having some tissue with you, depending on what you're familiar with, I mean, even if you use the bum gun, which you should, bum guns, they are wet. They create moisture, and like that, you gotta you gotta get rid of that moisture somewhere. You don't want to just pull up your pants, So just having tissues or some type of wet wipes is a good thing to have.
Yeah, I agree. I would go so far as to say I would prefer having wipes actually over tissues, because wipes are more sort of multifunctional. You can also have like disinfectant wipes if you want to wipe your hands down after exploring.
Oh, good idea. Good idea.
Handling something weird.
Sure.
Some people use tissues or wipes to wipe off the cutlery if they're sitting down in a restaurant on the roadside.
Sure.
Because it might be covered in dust or something. So always handy to have.
Sure. So what else you got, Greg?
Well, this one is probably mostly for tourists, I guess, but I guess anyone who might be traveling and staying in a different city in a hotel. But it's often easy to forget where you are, or if you speak Thai, to say where your hotel is and explain to a taxi driver where they are. So, man, what I've always done is a cool shortcut. Actually, I learned from our Smiling Albino buddies back in the day. Is you just grab a business card from the front desk on your way out of the hotel.
Oh yeah, with Thai language on it, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. And whenever you just get into a taxi at the end of the day or the night, you just slip them business cards, say, go here, problem solved.
It's funny. When I saw this back in the day, at first I thought it was kind of a cop-out, because my attitude was, hey, just, learn how to say it, or, communicate, use words,
right.
But actually it really saves a lot of time. So, so when my friends come, I tell them this all the time. Instead of having them try to say it in English, and then, the taxi driver appreciates it. They appreciate it when they don't have to figure out what the hell you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hyatt or, Marriott or whatever. You just,
which one? There's 12 of them in the city. As
that's right.
Which one?
Yeah. It's just handing them the card. It's a good idea. I like it.
Well, when I go to Japan in the next couple of weeks, that's definitely what I'm going to be doing, because who knows if you're out, maybe you want to have to come home early. Maybe you forgot something. Maybe there's an emergency. It's just good to have.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. What's the last one on the list of physical things that you can bring with you?
Well, again, I guess it is common sense. Everyone should know this because everyone knows how technology works. But I would say bringing a phone charger or a battery, like, a battery you can plug into, is a good idea. Bangkok is not great when it comes to electrical outlets. It's like when I'm back home and I'm at some place, I notice that there's a lot more outlets, or there's phone charging stations. And right. I have seen some of those in Bangkok. If you're at like a new cafe, they'll have a phone charging station, but it's not really a thing. And
I like the hipster voice today, a new cafe.
Well, you know what I mean? It is kind of a new, like having a phone, like a thing specifically to charge devices.
Right.
That's kind of a new thing. But it's not so much a Bangkok thing. And I hate when I need to charge my phone and I'm wandering around. So either having a battery. So now I've got a nice little compact, battery that I just throw in my bag. And it's so convenient if I have a long day to be able to plug into that. Everyone should know this already, but they might not be aware of how bad Bangkok is when it comes to plugging in. Like I'll be a mall or a food court, and there's just nowhere to plug. There's nowhere to plug in.
Yeah. You know what made me mad? I was coming back to Bangkok. I was in Kuala Lumpur a few months back, and my phone was getting low, and all I had was a cable with me, like a recharging cable. And I thought, surely there's going to be places to plug in the thing at the airport. But they were hard to find. And then I was like, aha, I'm brilliant. I'm super smart. I'll just plug it into one of the USB ports on one of the TVs scattered around here.
Oh, that's super smart.
Right. But check this out. I went to the TV and I looked in the back, and they had put like hot glue in all of the USB ports.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Those jerks.
Because there's a lot of smart people out there apparently who wanted you. So basically they're going out of their way to make sure you can't charge your device. They're walking around blocking ports.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was probably done for some security reason, like I was going to plug some thumb drive in and hack the planet or something. But
right.
I just wanted some electricity, man. Anyway, they foiled me, and I barely made it back to.
I mean, maybe it's not that big a deal. If you are at a newer mall or newer place, you probably could find a place to charge or plug in, but I wouldn't count on it. So I think bringing a battery and a charger, smart thing to do.
Yeah. So the next couple of things on our list here, they're not things you can bring, but just a couple of little small things to remember when you've been out exploring Bangkok for hours on end and you're tired and you're weary or you need some information. So just a couple little things here on the end. What's the first one here, Ed? Why don't you take that?
Well, 7-Eleven in Thailand is, I think, a little bit more than it is elsewhere in the world. 7-Eleven kind of has everything. It's a much broader scope of things you can do there, including pay bills and stuff like that. But one cool thing that 7-Eleven has is these cold towels or towelettes, like in packets you can unseal, and it's just a great way to cool down. So obviously we use them on our bike rides a lot, but even just if you're doing a long walk, or you just went to a bunch of temples, hitting 7-Eleven, grabbing some like cold towels is a good idea.
Yeah, they usually keep them in the back with a freezer sometimes.
Yep.
And they're quite big. They're probably, like 80 centimeters by 40 centimeters. Just these sort of pre-moistened frozen towels.
Yep.
And man, when I was leading tours in Bangkok, and we would stop for lunch or something, and I'd come out of 7-Eleven with one of these frozen towels for people. Like the relief was palpable. People's faces,
Yeah, in a long day, it's great.
They also have a selection of powder. Now, before you scoff at me, I think powder is really undervalued as like, I don't know, a rejuvenating agent.
What kind of powder?
Like Johnson & Johnson's baby powder or something.
Baby powder?
Yeah, man. Like you're out for a long day, you're sweaty. I mean, just dump half a bottle down your back, down your chest, under your arms. It's remarkably refreshing.
Are we getting paid for this? Is this like an inserted ad?
Brought to you by Johnson & Johnson. No, it's whatever the brand is, but baby powder on your sweaty bits, it dries you up. It makes you smell good. It makes you feel refreshed.
All right. I'm just going to say, I don't know anything about this, but if Greg says so, I do trust Greg. So
when you're taking advice on how to recover from being a sweaty fat man, listen to the sweaty fat man.
Well, the other thing not to forget is electrolytes. Again, I think that in a way, I feel like this show is kind of like you and I acting like your mom. Like, don't forget to bring your charger. Don't bring this. Don't forget.
Clean underwear.
Yeah. No, electrolytes are important. I mean, this saves me on our bike rides. I mean, our bike rides are obviously physical, but even if I had a long day of walking, I love grabbing a Gatorade, or there's a bunch of different electrolyte powders. Where there's one called Royal D, is a Thai one. They also have their own energy style drinks, which kind of copy Gatorade. But it's a good thing to remember when you sweat, you lose salt and electrolytes. I think this is good. It's a very refreshing thing. Maybe not as refreshing as baby powder. I don't know, but I would recommend electrolytes.
Yeah, a packet of Royal D and a bottle of cold water. You mix those two together. Don't get the sugar of all the energy drinks, and a lot of places might not even have Gatorade or something like that if you're out into the boonies a little bit. So
good advice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, what else you got?
Well, the last one we want to go over is something that I always tell people, and I think a lot of people might not sort of see this as a resource, but they're really, really handy in a pinch, and that is hotel concierges. The dudes that stand outside and welcome you to the hotel?
So are you talking about if you're not staying in a hotel, you still would just start chatting with a hotel concierge?
Not just chatting, but like, first of all, they're there to serve the customers first, but they're also, part of their job is to be friendly and outgoing and helpful. Almost all of them speak English, pretty good English.
No, of course, sure.
Right. So if you need directions, if you need help, if you need assistance, if you got to call a phone number, you want to use a bathroom, you want to borrow something from the hotel in an emergency, like concierges are a good resource.
It's their job. It's their job to be helpful and diplomatic.
Yeah, and they probably know the area well. They might even have a few
Sure.
contacts, like, oh, let me call my buddy. He's a motorcycle driver or something like that.
And plus, they might not even realize you don't stay in the hotel. They
That's
just see
right.
you.
Yeah,
They're
I'm
like,
in
"Oh,
room,
you probably stay in this hotel." This is
That's
actually
right.
This is actually a good little hack. I'm not sure I would have thought of this, but actually, I like this. This is a good little hack. Like you're wandering around, you're a little bit lost. You pop into a hotel, find the concierge, and just ask them.
Yeah, I'm staying in room 420, I guess. I don't know. So,
I don't.
and I need a little bit of help. So they're always good to turn to in an emergency. I always think of Mr. Rogers saying, "When you're in trouble, look for the helpers," and the hotel concierges are the helpers.
You've had some crazy references on the show,
mean-
Mr. Rogers references.
Man, if I could get paid for my random pop culture references, we'd be recording this from the Bangkok podcast building on Sukhumvit.
I think you referenced Die Hard in the intro. You referenced Dukes of Hazzard.
From
Yeah.
Die Hard to Mr. Rogers, A Life in Memes, the biography of Greg Jorgensen.
Love it. Love it.
Anyway, that was just a couple of random things that Ed and I put down on a list. Maybe some things you didn't think about. Maybe some of them are obvious. But all of them, I think, will sort of help round out your day exploring Bangkok. Like we said, a lot of people are coming here for the New Year's holidays. And Bangkok is not an easy city to crack sometimes.
Agreed.
And it helps if you have some of the shortcuts and some of the hacks to help you get through it. So there we go.
Well, I'll tell you this. I rarely remember all of these things. I mean, when I go down the list, I keep thinking of like times where like, man, I wish I brought my sweatshirt because I ended up in this movie theater and I forgot to bring a sweatshirt. How long have I been living here and I haven't, I can't remember that. Or I typically carry a copy of my passport, but just occasionally I don't have it when they need it. So do not mock this checklist. This checklist will save you.
Yeah, made through cold, hard experience.
Pain. That's right. Painful experience.
Yeah. And again, too, this also reminds us that even if you live here like we do, like I haven't been out on a boat tour in a long time,
Sure.
I haven't walked around some of the neighborhoods I really love in a long time. I got to get out there and do that again.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some love, loathe, or live with, where one of us picks a particular aspect of living in Bangkok, which we then discuss to decide if it's something we love about living here, loathe about living here, or have come to accept as something that we just have to learn to live with no matter how we feel about it. Ed, this week, it's your turn in the hot seat.
All right, Greg, kind of random, but this happened to me today and yesterday, actually 2 days in a row. What's your take on taxi drivers or motorbike riders who insist on totally understanding the destination you're going to before they will start driving? In other words, either they don't understand where you want to go, or you don't know how to explain it in Thai, but they won't just go. So in Thai, I don't even know if this is correct, but I will say something like "pom cha bok," like I will tell you, go straight, turn left, turn right. But oddly, it's like I just run into these motorbike guys or taxi drivers who they won't do that. And obviously, there's nothing you can love. But do you know what I'm talking about? Has this happened to you before?
It has, yeah, and it is a bit frustrating. But the more I'm thinking about it, you look at it from their perspective, some random dude that doesn't speak. I mean, imagine if some guy came up to you and you were a motorcycle driver, Ed, with your shiny new license.
Right.
And he's like, I go there that way. And you're like, where are you going? And he goes, just go.
Right.
You'd be like, well, I mean, maybe he wants to go to Cambodia. I don't know. So like maybe
right.
the end of my shift is coming up. Maybe I don't feel like driving it halfway across the city. Maybe he doesn't really know where he wants to go. He just knows a direction and I got to drive around helping him find it. Like, I think there's a lot of room for misinterpretation here.
That's an interesting take. Probably officially, you're supposed to kind of state your destination, but sometimes I don't know how to say exactly where I'm going in Thai. Yeah. But I know it's easy to get to, and I can just tell them as we go. And I find it really frustrating when they won't do that. So you're being very sympathetic to their point of view, but the bottom line is they're getting paid. So it's like, why do they have to know the destination? Can't I just tell them, go straight, turn left, turn right? I mean, they're going to get paid either way, So I guess you're right. I mean, some of them are maybe worried that it's too far away, or it could be the end of their shift. But I don't know. This is one of my personal pet peeves. It's just go, and I will explain it as I go. And sometimes, I'm looking on my phone, or and I want them to just, hey, let's just start riding and I'll figure it out. Or maybe I'll try to find it in Thai. And a lot of guys will do that. They will go. But some taxi guys will just sit there, like while you're looking on your phone. And I don't know. This is one of my.
It also forces you to get creative with your Thai. Like, okay, how do I say it's close to here, or I can see it?
Right. Or you have to know the neighborhood or something like that.
Yeah.
So for me, I got to be honest. Like, I hate it. It's a loathe. I just want them to just let me tell them as we go. But you sound like you sound it doesn't bother you as much.
I totally get why it would be a loathe for you, because it's easy just to go like, geez, man, just go. But it's like, parsing it a little bit more slowly, I think you can see why I'm a live with. Like, I get it. If some guy came up to me and said, take me to where I want to go, and I said, where? And he goes, don't worry about it, just go. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
You're so sympathetic. You're
Canadian.
A final thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that they're helping in our never-ending quest for cool content. Find out more by clicking support on our website. And connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcasts on social media, bangkokpodcast.com on the web, or simply bangkokpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages.
Yeah, baby. You can also listen to each episode on YouTube. You can send us a voicemail through our website that we'll feature on the show. You can reach out to me on threads at BKKGreg. So that's it for season 6. That's it for 2023. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care of yourself. Take care of your friends and family. And we will see you back here in January.
That's a wrap. Happy holidays, everyone.
But you have me at a loss. You know my name, but who are you? Just another American who saw too many movies as a child? Another orphan of a bankrupt culture who thinks he's John Wayne, Rambo, Marshall Dillon?
I was always kind of partial to Roy Rogers, actually. I really like those sequin shirts.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.